Okay, Orlando Wilson here. Somebody sent me a question reference training and whether it's worthwhile doing virtual training, virtual firearms training, etc. I tell people a lot of the virtual training for stuff like we do virtual courses for threat assessments, travel, security, etc. I see that's being applicable. But this gentleman asked me about the training on simulators for firearms, tactical stuff, etc. My answer is yes, everything's good training, and a lot of the simulators out there these days are very, very good and very, very realistic. So I'd say yes, it's worthwhile as long as everything's kept in context. Training on simulators should be done in conjunction with, as far as firearms training is concerned, with live fire firearms training. The main issue I've seen with people and firearms, and I've never really dealt with anybody that's only trained on simulators and then come over to firearms, but I would see a problem being that a person, when they pick up a real firearm, is going to be nervous and afraid of that firearm. Simulator training to ease people into firearms training, to get them used to the grip, the safety, etc., and the basics, yes. But I'd be very wary of somebody with no experience who's just done simulator training, then coming over to live fire thinking they can do the full tactical drills, etc. If somebody has previous firearms experiences, somebody's a shooter, using simulators to up their skills, to keep up to speed, yeah, 100%. And I think there's even home simulators you can get these days. There's lots of stuff out there. It's like technology's going at a hell of a pace, so there's stuff out there, and if that works for you, and if you're in an area where you can't live fire or you don't want to spend the money on ammunition, if you want to buy a simulator, then yeah, you can get good training out of it. Now, one of the things where simulators cannot replicate is environmental issues. Environmental issues, what do I mean? Being cold, being wet, being tired, being hungry, etc. Now, let me give you a few examples. On a lot of my courses, when we're doing courses, even the smaller courses, the one-day courses, firearms courses we was doing when I was in US or we do in other places, generally we don't have lunch. And a lot of people cannot handle going without lunch. So the trouble is with a lot of these simulator training courses, they're in nice, comfortable environments. You're getting coffee, tea, group hugs, lunch, etc. And you're in a nice warm condition, warm area or air-conditioned area, etc. And it used to amaze me, when you miss lunch, a lot of people, their concentration goes. And I've had people complaining, and I've given them lunch breaks, but I've explained to them, okay, this is, you want to be bodyguards, you want to get into the security business, but you need lunch. A lot of times if you're working with clients, you're not going to have time to have lunch. Another one, physical training wise, again, a lot of people are used to training in air-conditioned gyms, etc., etc. South Florida I'll use as one example. Once you get people out into the humidity and the heat during the summer, especially training on sand, they couldn't do it. Why? They're used to being in a gym. So transfer over, you've just trained on a simulator, you're not going to be able to replicate the environmental conditions of the environments you're going to be working in, whether you're going to be cold, whether you're going to be hot, whether you're going to be tired. This is another thing with training, and this was brought up by my close associate Jerry Arachea in Mexico City. He was talking about this a while back. He sent me a message about this a while back. Okay, if you're training, it needs to be hard. And a lot of people, you know what, a good training course is, you're not going to sleep, at least you need to go without sleep. You need to be working long hours if it's a serious training course. There needs to be sleep deprivation to some extent. You need to be pushed to some extent, physically and mentally. It needs to be training. Now, this is where these days a lot of people have mixed up training with what we can class as tactical events, tactical entertainment, tactical experiences. If you want training, you need to train, and especially if you want to get into the close protection world, the bodyguard world, etc. If you're going through easy training and it's comfortable and you're having fun, it's a holiday. It's an experience. It's not training. Training, you need to work hard, you need to be pushed, you need to fail, and in some ways you can like it, but you shouldn't like it. It shouldn't be comfortable. And this is one thing with people coming from simulators. If all you've done is simulators in nice comfy environments, or even you've live fired in nice comfy environments with tea breaks, etc., then yes, it's not really replicating the real world. You might have got shouted at, but that's about it. It's funny because I was looking at some ad popped up for PMC training, which to me is complete and utter bullshit. 5-day or 6-day PMC, they'll turn you into a high-speed mercenary in 5 days. And part of the advert was you get hotel accommodation and 3 meals a day. You know what? If you want to be a mercenary, I don't think you're going to be eating 3 meals a day. You have to be able to go without food for a little bit. Are you going to be staying in hotels with TVs and coffee makers and everything else? Not really. And if you follow the news, if you see what's been happening in Ukraine, when a lot of volunteers have been staying in the hotels, they're missile targets for the Russians. So this is where everybody wants to be a bad guy, everybody wants to be a badass, until it comes down to being a badass. It comes down to actually training and sweating and hurting, or being cold, being wet, being tired and hungry. Everybody wants to be a badass in a nice comfortable environment, which to me is no different than, how can I put it, playing computer games, etc. I've said in other places I've got a lot more respect for people that play airsoft or paintball than a lot of these tactical experts, because at least the people are playing paintball and airsoft, they're running around, they're sweating, and you know what, you get hit by a paintball and even airsoft to some extent, it hurts, they feel pain, which a lot of these tactical people, which you're not going to feel too much pain on simulators, and pain is a very, very good educator. So I know I'm a little bit off topic, but that's my view on simulators. Yes, they help, but in conjunction with real world training and training in the environments you're going to be working. And again, if you want to get into the close protection business, etc., if you don't want to be tired, hot, cold, wet, hungry, if you think you'll be hanging out in 5-star environments all the time, you know what, you're dreaming. Find another career. Anyway, just my opinion. In the meantime, follow me along on social media. I've got a lot more of these videos up. There's going to be more coming up in the near future. So in the meantime, as always, be good, stay safe, stay out of trouble, and keep your training as real as possible.